the DJI Mini 5 Pro. It's been out in the UK for a few weeks now, and as you'd expect, YouTube is packed with videos raving about how great it is. Am I upgrading to the Mini 5 Pro? Short answer, no. The longer answer, not yet, and maybe never. Let me tell you why. Hello, and welcome to the Whirly Bloke channel. So I'm Dave, better known here on YouTube as Whirly Bloke, where I mainly cover drone tech across the board, from whoops and cine lifters to Betaflight tuning and DIY FPV builds. But I also wear another hat. I've been a registered CAA commercial drone operator since 2015, running a professional area media company here in the UK called Xcopters. And I specialise in roof inspections, mapping, construction progress monitoring, 3D modelling, the works. And over the years, I've owned and flown nearly every DJI drone you can think of, from the original Inspire 1 and Inspire 2 to the Matrice M100, the M200, the M210, and even the heavyweight M300s and some thermal drones. And I've also flown fixed wings like the EB, doing agri-tech surveys all across the country. These days, the mainstays of my commercial fleet are the DJI Mavic 3 Enterprise and this Mini 3 Pro. Two drones that cover 90% of what my clients need. And if there's something bigger or more specialised needed, I just hire it in for the job. Simple. But here's the interesting bit. If I look back at the CAA flight logs that I'm required to keep, the drone with the most flight hours is this Mini 3 Pro. Why? Because I often fly in and around congested areas, especially places like Cambridge, which sits right in the middle of a flight restriction zone. And in these environments, I prefer to use a sub 250 gram drone wherever possible. If something goes wrong, the impact is far less likely to be serious, and I'm naturally cautious and prefer to minimise risk wherever I can. The Mini 3 Pro gives me just enough capability while staying legal and flexible under the current flight rules, and that's for the majority of my work. So when I say I'm not upgrading to the Mini 5 Pro, it's not because I don't care about specs. It's because I know exactly what works in the real world for me and what doesn't. If you haven't watched all the launch videos yet, the Mini 5 Pro comes with a new 1-inch sensor and shoots at 50 megapixels. And yes, it probably has a bit more dynamic range, it handles low light slightly better, it's got OcuSync 4 and flies a few minutes longer than this Mini 3 Pro. But here's the question. Does that actually matter for me or for you? Everything I shoot, from real estate fly-throughs to YouTube reviews to local promos, ends up on one platform, YouTube. And here's the thing, YouTube compresses the hell out of your footage. It doesn't matter if you upload a cinematic masterpiece or a potato. VP9 or AV1 will squash your bitrate so much no one's really seeing those extra megapixels anyway. If you're not shooting for cinema, broadcast or big screen HDR delivery, the Mini 3 Pro is probably more than good enough. For a lot of the inspection, modelling and construction progress monitoring work that I do, I use DroneLink for complex missions. It gives me autonomous mapping, construction progress tracking, 3D models for insurance underwriters, and even basic cinema waypoint flights. And the Mini 3 Pro supports it beautifully. But guess what? The Mini 5 doesn't. Neither does the Mini 4. DJI hasn't really opened them up to third-party SDKs. So that means no DroneLink, no Leachy, no advanced workflows. Yes, the DJI Mini 4 and 5 has onboard waypoint missions, and they're pretty good, but they're still quite limited. And there are workarounds and hacks, but those just add more time to the planning and, importantly, more things that can go wrong on the job when you're out in the field. As for the Mini 5's LiDAR-based obstacle avoidance, yeah, it's really clever, but honestly, I don't need it. If I'm flying close to buildings or structures in congested areas, maybe doing inspections, I turn obstacle avoidance off anyway, because I can't get close enough when it's turned on. And for inspections and autonomous flights, everything has to be very carefully planned and risk assessed, especially on night ops, where you need precision, not last-minute corrections from a sensor. And here's a stat for you. In 10 years of commercial flying, I've never crashed or made an insurance claim. Although I can't say the same for my FPV quads though. So I'd be paying more to lose functionality that I use every week. And for me, that's not an upgrade, it's a downgrade. Also, this Mini 3 Pro weighs 249 grams, and that's important. It keeps it legal for C0 label classification today and the UK 0 under upcoming UK rules from 2026. But the Mini 5 Pro, well, you've seen all the noise out there. It seems to be anywhere between 251 and 253 grams, and probably a little bit higher when you put an SD card in it. It's just a few grams over, but that's enough to disqualify it from C0 or UK 0 label ratings. It pushes it into a stricter regulatory category, and it requires greater separation from people, and it sort of limits where and how you can fly legally. So let's be honest, if it's over 250 grams, it's not really a Mini anymore in the eyes of the regulators. I mean, at that point, why not just carry a DJI Air 3S with you? Now, I'm sure there'll be hacks and maybe DJI will sort it out eventually, but it's a problem for now. And sure, it's probably not going to be policed very often, just like FPV spotter requirements. But if you're flying commercially in congested areas, your head's already above the parapet. And if something goes wrong, that extra 3 grams could be just one more thing that someone holds against you. Something you might have to explain or maybe even defend. And for what? A slightly bigger sensor. Every upgrade means new accessories, new batteries, new cases, new ND filters, maybe even a new controller. I know the Mini 3 and 4 batteries do fit the Mini 5, but I think you know what I mean. And for what? A tiny spec bump, one your clients and audience probably won't even notice. I'll be throwing away hundreds of pounds of gear just to say I've got the latest thing. This isn't about being a cheapskate, it's about being smart. Upgrades should unlock new possibilities, not just new bills. And look, I get it. New versions of tech are very tempting and we all feel that. But 90% of my work is commercial, mapping, inspections, roof surveys and so on. And this Mini 3 Pro consistently delivers what clients need, even in challenging environments. And when it comes to creative work, you know, the stuff that you see on YouTube, what really makes drone footage great? Well, it's composition, movement, lighting and storytelling. It's maybe not the drone that needs upgrading, it's maybe the pilot, the planning and the shot. So no, I'm not upgrading to the Mini 5 Pro, and not because it's a bad drone, it's not. I've flown with friends and it's absolutely fantastic. But I won't be upgrading because this Mini 3 Pro still lets me do everything I need, legally, autonomously, affordably and creatively. And better specs don't always mean better footage. Sometimes the best upgrade is just to keep flying what already works. Now, of course, this is just my own opinion based on my workflow and my clients. I'm not saying you shouldn't upgrade. If the Mini 5 Pro is your first drone, it's probably the best and most sensible choice out there right now. But if you're already flying a Mini 3 or even a Mini 4, take a moment. But if you're buying for the first time, there are some fantastic deals out there right now, not just on the second-hand market, but even directly from DJI getting rid of their old new stock. So That's why I'm sticking to the Mini 3 Pro for now. It does everything I need, and upgrading just doesn't make sense yet. If this helped you decide one way or the other, give it a like, leave a comment, and let me know whether you're buying or upgrading. And don't forget to subscribe for more no-nonsense drone content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.